This video is one in a series about virtual delivery of Crossroads learning activities. So there are many components in the Crossroads program that have learning activities, and the activities are of course designed for learning, to introduce topics, to enhance topics or give examples of topics, or about application for whatever the topic may be. There are really three ways that you can do learning activities in kind of a virtual environment. This video is going to be about Alligator River. So Alligator River is the first way you can do it, and that is there's really not much modification. It's already kind of set up for virtual delivery, just very minor modifications, and you can do the learning activity as it's written, and you can process the learning activity. Another way to do a learning activity then is to really just discuss it, asking open-ended questions, because the learning activity itself is just too physical. So you're not going to be able to do it on a video conference or in a virtual environment, but you can still get to the objective of the learning activity by asking good questions and processing it that way. And then the third way is with minor modifications of the learning activity, just using some different examples or some different prompts, you can still do the learning activity and get to the point of the activity itself. So this particular video is about Alligator River. Alligator River is found in Values, Attitudes, and Behavior. Anybody who is a Crossroads facilitator should have done Alligator River in their certification class. Generally, when I do Alligator River, I ask for volunteers, and this is the physical part of it, where people will actually act out. In a live class, as well as in a virtual class, it's important to get as much engagement as you possibly can. So for this, I will ask for volunteers. I'm just not going to have volunteers for the people in Alligator River. I'm just going to have volunteers for the animal parts, just so you have an understanding. And so it's an example of one, engagement, and two, some of the fun that you can have with the learning activity. But you could, if you want, have all the parts, because as you're going through Alligator River, you're going to be telling them what to say so they can just say it on camera. Again, engagement is vital. So I have some very willing participants here, and thank you all for taking the time out to do this. I need 3 river critters. Who would like to be my alligator? Yeah, look at the hands go up. Don't make me call on you now. Oh, Brother Alan raised his hand. Alan, you are going to be my, and his screen froze. There, Alan is my alligator. Good, get that, very good, very good. Yes, just get, Aaron, I saw your hand go up. You're going to be my snapping turtle. Excellent, and if you can growl if you want. And, oh, Amy is smiling so brightly, she wants to be my piranha. And it'll just be like a Pac-Man. And make the growly sound. Excellent, very good. All right, so I'm going to go through Alligator River. Here's another slight adjustment you can do. You can do this in a live class, but I just kind of drew out Alligator River. And it's definitely, you really want to stick to the script. I know the script pretty well, but you don't want to deviate, because that can kind of change responses and change the outcome. But I'm going to describe Alligator River to you. All right, and for my river critters, when I mention your name, just act out as your river critter and make your river critter noise. All right, here we go. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Murph who lived on the west bank of Alligator River. Very good. There's my alligator, yes. The river was filled with alligators, snapping turtles, nice, and piranhas. It was simply not safe to swim or wade in the river. Murph's boyfriend, Zach, lived on the opposite side of the river. Now, Murph and Zach had never been closer than their respective sides of the river, but they were very much in love, and their romance flourished. Every morning, Murph would go to the bank on her side of the river and call out to Zach, Zach, I love you, love you, love you. And Zach would go to the bank on his side of the river and call back to Murph, Murph, I love you, love you, love you. And this went on for days and weeks and months. Well, one morning, Murph came to the bank on her side of the river and called out her usual greeting. Zach, I love you, love you, love you. Zach came to the bank on his side of the river, but this morning he said, Murph, if you really love me, you will get over to my side of the river. Murph faced a serious dilemma. Murph could not ford or swim the river because of piranhas. Piranhas. There we go. Snapping turtles and alligators. Alligators. Yeah, alligators are a little slow here. Okay, good. She would be eaten by all of these river critters. She had to figure out or find somebody, figure out a way or find somebody who had a boat. The end. Now, in your workbook, which I know all of you have, on page 5, you have a chart that looks a lot like this. So on this chart, what you need to do is, considering our 4 people in Alligator River. So we have, make sure you can see this. So we have Murph, we have Zach, we have Zug, who is the boat guy, and we have Yak. You are to rank those characters using the grid on page 5 in your workbook. Rank those characters according to the one that is, in your opinion, the worst, on down to the least worst. And you are to explain why you are ranking them in that particular order. So very quickly, if all of you can rank those characters, anybody else have that exact order? Zach, Zug, Yak, Murph. Does anybody have Zach also as the worst? Just Zach. Allison does. All right. Let's talk. Oh, Alan does as well. Okay, great. Thank you. Jeff does too. So now 4 people have Zach as the worst. Is that correct? Yeah, yeah. All right. May I hear from a couple of you 4 people why Zach is the worst?
He made his girlfriend do all the work, and he wasn't willing to go meet her. If it can't meet halfway, but like, he's got to do something besides, if you love me, come find me. That's just, sorry.
Okay.
It was all on his terms. There was no compromising. It was all placed on her. He took no responsibility and no ownership for helping facilitate getting her across the river.
All right.
And then once she did, he rejected her because of her decision making after he put the terms on her.
Okay. So we have 3 other people who do not have Zach first. Of our 3, of Wally, Amy, and Aaron, who would like to share who they have first and why?
I'll share. I have Zug as the worst character in the story.
All right.
That was a pretty great ultimatum he had. He took advantage of Murph in a very vulnerable situation, maybe near life and death situation even, and took advantage of her and did whatever he did to her at the evening time. And I think that's pretty deplorable.
Okay, so other people, I I know Karen had Zug second, I believe. Did anyone have Zug third or Zug as the least worst?
I had Zug as least worst.
I did too.
Zug as least worst.
I had Zug as least worst.
Really? And why is that? Apparently he's a heinous person. Let's hear from Rob or Amy. Who'd you have first?
I had Yak first.
You had Yak first.
Yak first because he participated in criminal behavior by beating up an individual who had just only broken up with his girlfriend. There was no other physical problems, anything like that. He hurt her feelings, and as a result, he beat this person up, committing assault.
I see. Okay. Okay. Does anybody agree with that? Or who has Yak either third or fourth? Fourth as in least worst. Anybody? No. Who has Yak third?
I had him third.
You had him third. So how do you feel about Rob's assessment of Yak's assaultive behavior?
Well, I probably overlooked him beating somebody up. I was looking at it that he was coming to her rescue.
Oh, a different perspective, different viewpoint on that. Okay. So at this point, what I do is start talking about values, how people's opinions, certainly how people will form their, or they have their value system, and that's how they are assessing this story. And that since the value system is so ingrained in them, it's going to be tough to persuade them. It is interesting in a live class when you get people trying, they really start to kind of argue. You don't get quite as much arguing or discussion in the virtual class, but you still get the idea of people have their opinion, they have their perspective, it's based on their value system, and then this leads into the discussion of values and the rest of values, attitudes, and behavior. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching this video. This is an example of how you can conduct a learning activity through virtual delivery and still get the point across of what the topic is.